You know what pisses me off the most? Not the lies, not the entitlement. It's the way she looked at me like I didn't matter. Like I was just some inconvenience in the way of her payday. A year ago, I never would have guessed I'd be planning legal action against my dad's wife. But here we are. Let's rewind. It started around 7 years ago. My mom passed, and that wrecked my dad in a way none of us were ready for. They'd been married over 3 decades, and when she died, it was like something in him switched off. He lost his job a few months later, stopped paying rent, ended up evicted. I was the only kid, and the only one in a position to help. So I bought him a house. Nothing crazy, just a small but nice place in a quiet neighborhood in Boulder. Safe. Comfortable. He had his old cat Whiskey, the last living connection to my mom, and for a while, things were okay. I'd stop by every Sunday, bring takeout, and we'd hang out on the back porch, drinking iced tea, watching Whiskey stare down squirrels, like he was still a hunter. I was finally seeing glimpses of the old man again. Then Monica came along. We met her at a mutual friend's holiday party. She was one of those spiritual wellness influencers big on manifestation boards, fake deep quotes, and questionable detox smoothies. At first, she seemed nice, polite, a little too polished. But my dad looked at her like she was the answer to some silent prayer, so I kept my mouth shut. They got married 8 months later. Quick, right? But he seemed happy, and I wanted that for him. So when he said she was moving in, I didn't argue. His life, his call. The house was still legally mine, but I wasn't gonna lord that over him. I should have paid more attention to the little signs. The way Monica started referring to the house as our space. The way she introduced herself to neighbors as homeowner. Subtle stuff. And then came the real twist. Monica's daughter Chloe showed up out of nowhere with a suitcase and a little attitude problem. She just needs a place to stay for a while, Monica said, all casual. Chloe was like 26, not a teenager. She wasn't staying over, she was moving in. I didn't say anything. I figured, all right, temporary. Whatever. Until 3 weeks later when the other one, Lacey, rolled in with her yoga mats and ring lights. Suddenly the house felt invaded. My dad's safe place now, it was Monica's kingdom. And her 2 mini Monicas were the princesses. The vibe changed fast. Every time I visited, it was like I'd walked into someone else's home. Gone were the framed photos of my mom, the quiet evenings on the porch. Now there were salt lamps, vision boards, and crystal coasters everywhere. No lie, there was even a chakra alignment zone in the guest room, but I still bit my tongue. My dad looked tired, but okay. He'd smile when he saw me. We still sat out back with Whiskey, though Monica started joining us, always interrupting, always steering the conversation toward how draining older people can be. I should have known something was up when she said, "You know, some people just hold on too long. It's better to release them for everyone's sake." UTF. 3 months ago, things got worse. Way worse. Chloe started complaining about Whiskey, said he triggered her anxiety. Claimed she couldn't sleep knowing an unpredictable animal was roaming the house. Let me make something clear. Whiskey is a 14-year-old Maine Coon who sleeps 20 hours a day, has arthritis, and is scared of cucumbers. This cat isn't unpredictable. He's just old. But Monica backed her up, big surprise, and said maybe it was time for Whiskey to transition into a new space. Excuse me, transition like he's a rug. That was my limit. I stepped in, told my dad I'll take Whiskey. He doesn't deserve this. He didn't argue, just nodded, and man, the look in his eyes, it broke me. He was grateful but gutted, like they'd taken the last piece of my mom from him. From then on, I brought Whiskey with me when I visited. And every damn time, Chloe and Lacey acted like I was walking in with a pit bull off leash. Chloe even screamed once, like full horror movie scream, when Whiskey jumped onto the couch. "He's looking at me," she said. "No shit," I replied. "He's a cat." I kept my cool. Barely. Last week, things reached boiling point. I showed up like usual. Whiskey was curled up in his carrier, calm as ever. Dad was in the living room. He'd lost weight, cheeks hollow. I knew he'd been going through some medical stuff, but that day it hit me how bad it had gotten. I sat with him while Whiskey nuzzled into his lap like old times. We didn't even talk for a bit. Just sat there. And then Monica walked in. Didn't knock, didn't say hi. Just looked at the cat, then at me, and went, "I thought we agreed you wouldn't bring him anymore." I stared at her. "No, You said that. I said no. She crossed her arms. Beth, Lacey still feels unsafe. You're being incredibly disrespectful. I stood up. My voice shook, but I didn't yell. You're in my house, Monica. Don't forget that. You want to talk respect. Respect is letting my dad live in peace, not turning his home into your damn Instagram backdrop. She looked stunned. But I wasn't done. You took over his space, his decisions, his peace of mind. And now you want to erase what little he has left. Screw that. She stormed out. Lacey mumbled something under her breath, some passive-aggressive comment about toxic masculinity and territorial energy, whatever that means. I stayed another hour. My dad was quiet, but I could tell. He was proud and tired. When I got home that night, I poured a whiskey and sat on the floor with whiskey curled up beside me. I knew then what I had to do. The house was in my name. They didn't know that. Not yet. But they would. A few days after that awkward showdown with Monica, I called my lawyer. I'd already had the property in my name for years technically since the day I bought it. Dad never wanted that. He kept saying I should pay rent or something. I feel weird. But I told him, this is yours, Dad. Let me do this. And he lived like it was his. I never treated it like mine, never brought it up, never reminded him, never made it a thing. Until now. I asked my lawyer, how do I legally notify occupants that they're on my property and they'll need to pay rent after my dad passes? He gave me a few options. I chose the softest approach because, believe it or not, I wasn't trying to be a total asshole. Not yet. So I drafted a formal notice. Nothing aggressive, no ultimatums. Just once my dad's tenancy ends, either by moving to assisted care or, passing, they'd need to sign a lease or vacate. I printed it on plain paper. No legal letterhead, no bolded threats. I hand-delivered it. I walked into that house and the energy was thick. Like they'd all just finished gossiping about me and didn't expect the main character to walk in. Chloe was sprawled on the couch watching some reality show. Lacey was filming herself for TikTok doing a get ready with me, and Monica was folding laundry in the middle of the living room like she owned the place. I swear to God, she had the audacity to say, "Oh, back so soon." I smiled, tight, just dropping something off. I handed her the envelope. She didn't even open it, just glanced at it like I'd handed her a parking ticket. What is this? It's just a heads up, I said. About the lease situation for after Dad moves to hospice, nothing urgent. Her face dropped. You're charging rent, I shrugged. If you plan on staying here after he's gone, yeah. She looked at me like I'd spit in her kombucha. James wanted us here. I know. That's why I didn't say anything for years. Then Chloe chimed in from the couch, not even looking up. Is this legal? I feel like this isn't legal. Lacey added, it's giving eviction energy and I'm pretty sure that's harassment. I turned to Monica. This house was never your husband's to give. It's mine, always has been. I bought it in cash, paid the taxes, the insurance, the utilities. You've all been living here for free. Silence. You know that awkward, sharp silence when someone finally gets slapped in the face by reality that. Monica finally opened the paper, scanning it like she expected it to burst into flames. This is unbelievable, she muttered. James would be disgusted. I bit the inside of my cheek. No. What would have disgusted him was watching you slowly erase him while pretending to care. Pushing his cat out. Filling his home with your crystals and your influencer daughters who treat him like background furniture. I didn't yell. I didn't curse. I just let it sit. They didn't say a word as I walked back out. But I could feel the wheels turning in Monica's head. 3 weeks later, Dad officially entered hospice care. It was a quiet Tuesday morning. I drove him there myself. He barely spoke. His breathing was shallow, but he held my hand and said, I know what you've been doing. Thank you. I don't know how he knew. Maybe I'd been too obvious. Maybe Monica bitched about me in front of him. Didn't matter. I just nodded. I got you. That was the last real conversation we had. After that, it was just checking in, sitting in silence, making sure he had what he needed. And back at the house, oh man, things got weirder. Monica posted a photo of herself standing in front of the fireplace, our fireplace, with the caption, "Peace and protection over this home as we enter a new chapter." Chloe posted an Instagram reel with some grief and gratitude bullshit, sipping tea and spinning in the backyard to a Lana Del Rey song. Lacey did a TikTok live asking people to send love for a great man who's transitioning soon, and also drop tips for blending elder care with home aesthetics. I wanted to vomit. I didn't respond, didn't comment, didn't even call them out. I just waited. Then the day after Dad's funeral had happened, I showed up. Monica and the girls were watching TV like nothing had changed. No mourning, no candle, no damn flowers. I sat down, didn't even take off my jacket. I'm giving you all 90 days. After that, I need the house back. Monica laughed like I'd made a joke. 90 days to do what? Find a new place, move, sign a lease, whatever. You're not staying here rent-free. Chloe looked at me like I was Satan. You can't just kick us out. We're family. No, I said. You married my dad 2 years ago and moved in with zero input. You brought your grown-ass kids. You tried to erase my mom. You tried to erase me. And you sued my father emotionally into submission. Lacey tried the tears. We have nowhere to go. I raised an eyebrow. You have 170,000 followers. Monetize it. That one hit. Monica stood up. This is absolutely disgusting. James would have wanted us here. He promised. I interrupted her. Promised what? He didn't own this place. I have the deed. I paid for every square inch. This was his sanctuary. I gave it to him. And then I pulled out the folder. Copies of the deed. Bank statements. The full paper trail. She flipped through them, hands shaking. Then she said the most insane thing yet. Well, then I guess you owe us for making this house a home. I laughed so hard I couldn't breathe for a second. You mean the house you filled with dream catchers and essential oils while pushing a dying man to give up his cat? They were stunned. I left. I expected them to start packing. Instead, they lawyered up. Monica filed a claim that she was entitled to the house as a widow. Said Dad verbally promised it was theirs forever. Claimed she invested emotionally and financially into the property. When I got the paperwork, I legit thought it was a prank. But nope, she really tried it. My lawyer was calm about it. This won't go far. It's all emotional claim. No legal backing, no will, no trust, no title. Still, it pissed me off that I even had to deal with this. Like, imagine living off someone for years then suing their kid when they won't let you keep the house they paid for. That's Monica. That's Chloe and Lacey. The court date's set for next month. Until then, they're still in the house. But not for long. I've got all the documents, all the receipts, and surprise security footage of Monica saying, once he's gone, it's all ours. Manifestation, baby. It's gonna be glorious. Because for years, I stayed quiet. I let them take over. I let them rewrite history. I let them pretend they belonged. Now I'm done letting anything slide. They thought they could fake their way into inheritance. They forgot the part where I own everything. The courtroom wasn't what I expected. It wasn't dramatic. No banging gavels, no epic speeches. Just a stiff judge, a few quiet lawyers, and a vibe so tense I could have cut it with a plastic spoon. Monica showed up in a cream blouse like she was going to brunch, not trying to legally steal a house. Chloe and Lacey were with her, both dressed like they were attending a live taping of The View, full glam, fake solemn expressions, and a vibe that screamed, "We are victims of this cruel man's greed." I was in a black hoodie and jeans, not trying to impress anyone, just there to end this. My lawyer had everything printed, filed, tabbed, highlighted. Guy looked like he enjoyed this, probably because Monica's case was garbage. No deed, no written will, no trust. Just vibes, assumptions, and some unhinged, he said, stories that fell apart under the most basic questioning. The first 10 minutes, Monica's lawyer gave this speech about implied promises, shared commitment, emotional equity, blah, blah, blah. I didn't even flinch. I was just waiting for our turn. When my lawyer started, he went in surgical. Your Honor, my client bought the property outright 7 years ago. We have title documentation, tax records, insurance receipts, and proof that the decedent Mr. James Clark never held any ownership interest. He dropped a fat folder on the table. Monica flinched at the sound. Then came the best part. My lawyer played the footage. See, I'd installed cameras after Charlie, Whiskey was almost let out of the house accidentally. I wanted to make sure nothing happened to him when I wasn't around. But those cameras picked up everything. So when Monica said under oath that James always said it would be ours, we pulled out a clip from 3 months ago. She's standing in the kitchen sipping wine with Chloe and says clear as day, "Once James is gone, we'll take over. Ethan won't fight it. It's not like he has anything in writing." The judge's face didn't change, but Monica's sure did. Suddenly, Chloe was squirming. Lacey whispered something to her mom, probably WTF in some form. Monica tried to backpedal. I didn't mean that literally. Judge cut her off. Save the clarifications for your attorney. Her lawyer looked like he wanted to melt into the floor. It got worse. They claimed they'd financially contributed to the house, so we asked for proof. Bank transfers, receipts, anything. They submitted one screenshot of Chloe buying a $120 Whole Foods haul for household essentials. Judge raised an eyebrow. Groceries don't constitute property investment. That was basically the end of it. He said he'd review everything and issue a decision in a few days. I walked out before Monica could say anything. Didn't even look at her. Chloe hissed something like, "You're trash," under her breath as I passed. I smiled. You still have 30 days to move. A week later, I got the ruling. Judge denied Monica's claim in full. Confirmed sole ownership was mine. Denied any rights to residency beyond the grace period I had already offered. Even threw in a line about meritless emotional argumentation. That line's chef's kiss. I printed the ruling and taped a copy to the front door of the house. That may have been petty. I regret nothing. Monica didn't say a word to me, but she did go live on Instagram the next day. Title, "My Truth." I clicked it out of curiosity. Shouldn't have. She fake cried. Talked about being blindsided by betrayal. Said my dad had promised her a home and I took it away out of spite. Chloe and Lacey popped into frame midway through and called me a parasite in disguise and a bitter little man. One of them said I was jealous of women with power. The comments brutal. People weren't buying it. Not with the court ruling being public and her face plastered on property law subreddits by then. I didn't do that, by the way. Someone else found the case and connected the dots. Reddit did the rest. The top comment, "She really said manifestation like that was a legal clause. LMAO. But here's the part I didn't expect. About 2 weeks after the ruling, I stopped by the house. I wasn't planning to go in, just checking to see if they'd started packing. Instead, I saw Monica sitting on the porch, alone. No makeup, hair tied back, smoking a cigarette like someone who finally realized the gig was up. She looked at me, no words. Just tired. For a second, I almost felt something. Not pity, just a weird sense of ending. I nodded. She nodded back. Then she said, "You always hated me." I shook my head. "No, I just hated what you did to him." She looked away. I left. 30 days later, the house was empty. No goodbye, no apology, just a note on the counter. Hope it was worth it. It was. I didn't move back in. Too many ghosts. Instead, I sold it. Got a great price. Cleaned the place out myself, took my time. Kept only a few things: my dad's old watch, the porch chair he used to sit in, and Whiskey's favorite blanket. Then I did something I'd been planning for months. I used part of the sale to start a fund, named it after my mom and dad. The Whiskey Clark Foundation. It helps seniors who get financially exploited by family or caregivers. Pays for legal help, housing support, sometimes just a ride to court. Monica inspired it. She doesn't know it, but she did. Every time someone tries to pull what she pulled and we help stop it, that's the real win. I don't tell this story for sympathy, or clout, or revenge hype. I tell it because sometimes doing the right thing feels wrong. It feels like burning bridges you weren't ready to cross. Like walking away from your own father's house and saying, "This place doesn't hold me hostage anymore." But then you breathe, and you remember who you are. Not someone's backup plan. Not someone's ATM. Not a bystander in your own life. You're the one holding the keys. Let me know if you want to hear how Monica tried to spin a podcast deal out of this whole thing next. Spoiler, it didn't go well. So you'd think that after losing the lawsuit, getting roasted online, and being legally booted from a house she never owned, Monica would disappear quietly. You'd think wrong. Because 2 weeks after they moved out, I got an email from a podcast producer. Subject line, looking to verify details regarding Monica Bradford's upcoming interview. I stared at it for a good 30 seconds, trying to figure out if I was still asleep. Apparently, Monica was planning to share her journey on some new Widows Reclaiming Space podcast, hosted by this influencer turned life coach I vaguely recognized from Instagram. The producer wanted to fact-check a few elements regarding the legal housing situation. I replied short and sweet. Every element she's told you is likely false. Court case hash. 6. X is public record. I suggest reading the ruling before you publish defamatory content. No response after that. But sure enough, 2 days later, Monica posted a teaser clip to her Instagram story. Sometimes when women are bold, they're labeled gold diggers. But what if we're just reclaiming what was emotionally promised? I swear I felt my soul detach for a second. Then Chloe reposted it with the caption, "My mom's strength is unmatched." Girl, your mom got evicted legally after lying under oath. Sit down. I didn't respond publicly. I didn't need to, because Reddit did it for me. Apparently, someone from our Legal Advice or our Boulder Drama found the teaser and connected it back to the original story thread that was posted anonymously months ago, the one that detailed everything leading up to the case. And no, before you ask, I didn't post that thread, but I did read every comment when I found it. The subreddit absolutely torched Monica. One user wrote, "You can't manifest yourself into someone else's mortgage, babe." Another said, "If this woman says or claiming space one more time, I'm calling the IRS." I'm not gonna lie, it was satisfying. But it also brought up a weird feeling I wasn't ready for embarrassment. Because for all the legal wins and social media takedowns, I was still the guy who let all of this happen in the first place. I let them move in. I stayed quiet. I let my dad suffer through their crap for years while I played the nice son in the background. It made me start questioning everything, not about Monica, about me. Why didn't I step in sooner? Why did I let my own house get taken over? Why did it take a dying cat and a hospice room to wake me the hell up? I started seeing a therapist around that time. Nothing dramatic, just once a week. Zoom sessions, no couch. Her name's Sarah. Chill woman, no bullshit. She doesn't nod every 2 seconds or say, "And how does that make you feel?" She just listens, pauses, then asks the question I was avoiding. One day, she hit me with, "What were you really protecting when you stayed quiet?" And damn, that one hit. Because the truth is, I wasn't protecting my dad. I was protecting peace, surface peace. The kind where no one yells and no one cries, but everyone's miserable underneath. And I'd grown up doing that. My mom was a fixer. My dad was avoidant. I was the middleman even as a kid, making sure no one fought, making jokes to ease tension, cleaning up messes I didn't cause. So when Monica moved in and started rearranging the house, I just defaulted. Keep the peace. Don't make waves. Don't stress dad out. But that's the trap, isn't it? Peace at the cost of truth isn't peace. It's denial with scented candles. Anyway, therapy helped. Still does. But it also made me more ruthless in a good way. I started going through every file, every document, every financial record tied to the house. I found things Monica had forgotten to mention, like the Amazon charges for business expenses that were shipped to the house, or the Venmo request between Chloe and Monica labeled utilities even though they weren't paying a dime. You know what I did? Nothing. I didn't press charges, didn't expose them, didn't even call them out. Because at some point you realize, winning isn't about punishing people. It's about not letting them stay in your life long enough to keep screwing you over. 1 month after they moved out, the house sold. Market was hot. Got multiple offers. I took the one from a single mom with 2 kids and a rescue dog. She wrote a letter about how she'd always dreamed of a little backyard and a safe place to raise her boys. I read that letter 3 times and signed the papers the next morning. It was done. The house, the history, the weight, gone. And weirdly, I didn't feel sad. I felt clear. I took the profit, paid off every lingering bill, and moved to a place closer to the coast. Somewhere quieter. Somewhere mine. Whiskey came with me, of course. He's old, but he's still kicking. Spends most of his time in the sun or trying to knock my water bottle off the nightstand. He's earned it. Last week, I got a letter in the mail. Real letter. Handwritten. No return address. Just my name. Inside was a folded page. No signature. No apology. Just one line. "You didn't have to make it so public." I laughed. Because that's the thing Monica never understood. I didn't make anything public. The internet just loves karma. And honestly, same. It's been 5 months since the house sold. And you know what's weird? There's no victory parade, no balloons, no big told you so moment, just silence. Which turns out is exactly what I needed. Whiskey and I settled into a little rental near the coast. Not fancy, just enough. 1 floor, decent light, no drama. Neighbors keep to themselves. Closest thing to chaos is when the UPS guy forgets which house gets the cat food. I started sleeping through the night again. That's not a dramatic sentence, it's literal. After months, hell years of waking up in that wired state like something was always off, I finally sleep. Full, deep, quiet sleep. No creaky stairs. No Chloe's fake laugh through thin walls. No passive-aggressive conversations floating down from the upstairs hallway. Just quiet, and it's healing in a way I didn't know I needed. I still think about my dad sometimes. Not the last version of him, the sick one the man Monica drained. I mean him. The real one. The guy who used to whistle when he grilled burgers. Who'd sit on the porch and name birds like he was hosting Animal Planet. Who'd tap the roof of my car twice every time I left like some old-school dad signal for drive safe. That guy. I miss him. And sometimes I get mad. Not just at Monica, at him too. For letting her in. For not pushing back. For letting her rearrange his world so fast it made my head spin. But then I remember he was lonely. Devastated. And loneliness is a hell of a drug. It makes people desperate to be seen, to be held, to matter. And she made him feel that for a while. So yeah, I'm angry. But I also get it. Chloe tried to follow me on Instagram last week. No DM, no message, just a follow. Like we're friends. Like none of it happened. Like she didn't stand in front of a judge and lie through her veneers about me being a predator of property or whatever weird phrase they cooked up. I blocked her. Didn't even hesitate. I don't need a front row seat to whatever redemption arc she's trying to craft online. Let her rebrand. Let her light sage and post quotes about rising through resistance. That's not my business anymore. And here's the thing, that's what healing actually looks like. It's not fireworks or revenge porn fantasies where the bad guys cry and beg. It's quiet boundaries. It's no thanks. It's walking away and not turning around to see if they notice. The foundation I started, it's growing. I didn't think it would, honestly. I thought maybe I'd help one or two people close the book and move on. But people kept reaching out. Grandkids trying to protect their grandparents. Adult children stuck in legal gray areas with step-parents who moved fast and quietly took over everything. Apparently, this stuff happens a lot more than anyone talks about. We've helped 12 families so far. Sometimes it's just helping them understand their legal rights. Other times it's assisting with paperwork or showing up to court, or even just being in the room when they say no for the first time. One woman, Sandra 62, had a boyfriend who moved in after her husband died. Guy started isolating her, cutting off her kids, trying to convince her to sell her house and move somewhere spiritual. Sound familiar? She reached out after hearing about my case through someone's blog post. She said, "I thought it was just me. I thought I was crazy for noticing the change and still doing nothing." I told her, that's not crazy. That's fear with good manners. We got her out. Legally, quietly, no drama, just clarity. And that felt better than any court ruling. Monica hasn't posted much lately. Her influencer content has tanked. Her account went from daily affirmations and healing posts to sporadic skincare routines and awkward selfies with captions like, "Healing is not linear." No shit, Monica. I don't watch. But friends send me screenshots. It's their version of keeping score. I stopped replying. I'm done keeping score. Because what I got wasn't just justice, it was peace. And peace is a weird thing to carry when you've spent so long holding rage. It feels almost unearned. Like you forgot how to sit still without planning your next move. I'm learning how to sit still again. It's uncomfortable, but it's also kind of beautiful. The other day, I found one of my dad's old flannels in a moving box I never fully unpacked. Smelled like dust and something warm. Reminded me of road trips and cheap motel coffee and him singing badly to Springsteen. I sat on the floor and cried for like 20 minutes. No soundtrack, no dramatic lighting. Just me, a cat, and a stupid flannel that still held the shape of someone I loved. And for the first time in months, I didn't cry out of anger or regret. I just missed him. And that felt clean. Like my grief finally got filtered through something softer. Sarah asked me recently, "What would you do differently?" And I told her the truth. I wouldn't stay quiet so long. I wouldn't wait for permission to defend what's mine. I wouldn't confuse politeness with peace. I wouldn't let someone rewrite my family's story because they smiled pretty and talked about energy. I'd speak up the first time something felt wrong. But I also told her this. I don't hate who I was. Because that guy, he was tired. He was trying. He was doing his best with the tools he had. And when it finally mattered most, he stood up. He drew the line. He didn't blink. And that's enough. There's no ribbon to tie this all up. Just a man-a-cat and a little more space in his chest where the weight used to be. And honestly, I'll take it.